Hi, and welcome to the Clarity New Features and Supportability video series for Release 16.3.1. In this presentation, I'll explain the new administrative and user management capabilities within Clarity for enhancing security and the user experience. Your Clarity administrator now has the option to create custom labels to provide clear and descriptive names for menu items. Users can quickly navigate to the relevant content in their preferred language to optimize the user experience. Securing access to modules within the staffing workspace prevents clutter and streamlines workflows to improve efficiency for each user based on the activities most relevant to their job. Controlling access is also important to help maintain compliance by restricting data exposure. The administrator, impersonating another user, sees exactly what that user can see within the system. This is important for troubleshooting user issues, verifying users have the proper set of access rights, and for testing various use cases of new features. After hearing about these new enhancements, our administrator, Ian, is excited to implement new configurations. Let's navigate into the System Settings tile within the Administration workspace. Here in the navigation menu page, Ian can create custom labels for the menu. With the exception of locked pages such as Home, Administration, and Classic PPM, the label can be customized for any page listed. By default, the label column is empty, and the system uses the label shown in the page column. Let's relabel some menu items with custom labels in English. Our ideas are aligned with the innovation program we have with our customers. Let's relabel this menu link to innovation. Within the company, the users refer to the staffing workspace as resource planning. Updating the label will allow users to make this connection when using Clarity. The menu links page allows users to access other areas within our Value Ops organization. Let's relabel this to Value Ops Portal. Up to this point, we have relabeled the stock pages. We have a custom page named Objectives and Key Results that is a channel into a visual dashboard. Let's relabel it to OKR Dashboard. Notice the trash can displayed for this item? If you click it, the custom page item is removed from the menu. It is not meant for clearing out the custom label. That can be accomplished by clicking into the label field and manually clearing out the text. Custom page names can now have localized labels. After setting up the new labels, Ian can refresh his browser to see all the updated labels in English. Clicking into each menu item, the new label is also shown on the page. Here in the Resource Planning workspace, clicking into the investment shows the customized label in the breadcrumb header. Going into the Innovation workspace and following the navigation is another example showing the breadcrumb customization. Let's go back into the Administration workspace. Customized labels can be manually translated and entered into other languages, especially for custom pages. Ian can temporarily change his language to use Spanish. The items Ian relabeled in English are not automatically relabeled in Spanish or any other language. Let's enter the custom label Spanish translation for the stock and custom pages. In looking at the menu, did you notice the custom page for Objectives and Key Results is not automatically translated for other languages? Now, with this new feature, localizing the custom pages is fantastic. After refreshing the browser, the labels on the menu are updated. Ian proceeds to update the French labels as well, using the same steps. The main benefit of this new feature is to allow the administrator the flexibility to localize custom page items for the languages used by the employees to provide a consistent user experience within Clarity. After completing the task to relabel the menu items, Ian wants to secure modules within the staffing workspace to control access to users. Ian has learned of this new feature and has developed a plan for implementing the configuration to secure modules within the staffing workspace. Let's take a look at the plan Ian has developed. Clarity is used by the executives and the different business groups within the company for managing and planning investments and resources. Some users plan through allocations while others plan through assignments. For our executive users, we want to limit their view to only show the investments and staff tabs. In this diagram on the left, you can see how access groups have been defined for various users. Ed is a member of the executive's access group. Dana, Patrick, and others such as Ray are members of the allocations group. Dana, Pam, and others such as Maria are members of the assignments group. Other staffing users such as Luke are not members of these groups. On the right, you can visualize how Ian can configure the access across the modules. Now that Ian has set up the user groups and has a plan for the configuration, let's update the default staffing blueprint. Ian navigates to the Blueprints page within the administration workspace. Let's open up the default staffing blueprint already defined in the system and enter Edit mode. For each of the tabs, a new configuration option to secure access appears. By default, the modules are not secured. Members of the administrator and executives groups are the only ones to get access to the investments module. Ian can secure the access by selecting the staffing administration group and the executive group. For the allocation by investment module, Ian secures the access by selecting the staffing allocations group. And the same group is selected for the allocations by resource module. For the assignments by investment module, Ian secures the access by selecting the staffing assignments group. And the same group is selected for the assignments by resource module. For the staff module, Ian will leave it unsecured because all staffing users shall have access to this tab. By doing this, Ian ensures that at least one module is visible to any user that has access into the workspace. Let's publish the changes. It is important to ensure users with the Staffing Navigate access right have at least one module accessible through a secure group or no group restriction, otherwise the workspace does not render. Let's check out the configuration for Ian as we navigate over to the staffing workspace, which has a custom label of resource planning. We can see the Investments tab and the Staff tab, but not the other tabs. Let's review the configuration chart. Ian added the Administrators group to the Investments module, but did not add it to the other modules as planned in our diagram. To ensure our administrators can see the Allocations and Assignments modules, let's go back into the blueprint to update the modules by adding the Administrator group. Ian returns to the resource planning page, and the modules are now configured correctly. Ian is satisfied with the configuration, but wants to ensure the members of the other groups can see their expected modules. Using the new impersonation feature will streamline testing and implementation because the administrator does not need to know the passwords of various users and can immediately see the outcomes of the configuration and make adjustments as needed. Let's use this powerful tool to check the configuration of the modules for other users. With the access right to impersonate a user, Ian has a new action listed in the Personal Settings menu. A list of active users that have been enabled for impersonation appears for selection. Let's select Ed. He is a member of the executives group. Once the user is selected, the application displays a banner. The left navigation menu only shows the links for which Ed has access. We can see the customized menu labels that Ian recently updated. If we navigate into the staffing workspace, which has been relabeled as Resource Planning, we can see the correct modules displayed for Ed. As expected, the Investments module appears because Ed is a member of the group used to secure access to it. The Staff tab appears because it is unrestricted. Let's end the session. The session can be ended through the button here. Alternatively, the session ends when the administrator logs out. Once Ian has impersonated a user, the name appears on the recently impersonated list. This list holds up to 10 active users enabled for impersonation. If the profile of the user status and impersonation enablement changes, the name will disappear from this list and the selection list. Let's select Pam Sanders. She is a member of the Assignments group. Let's go into the workspace to see the accessible modules. According to Ian's diagram, Pam has access to Assignments and the Staff grid. Everything looks good here. Let's end the session. Let's impersonate Luke Bernard. Luke is using French for his language. All his general settings are used, such as language and locale. We can see the custom French labels for the left navigation menu items for Innovation and for Resource Planning. Let's navigate into the Resource Planning workspace. Luke only has access to only one staff module because it is unsecured. Luke is not a member of any groups used for securing the other modules. Ian has validated the configuration for this type of user. Let's end the session. Each time Ian ends an impersonation session, Ian lands on his default home page, which is the administration workspace. To demonstrate this, we'll take Ian to another page, and when we return from the next impersonation session, we'll see that he'll land on his default home page. Now let's impersonate Dana. Each time we enter into impersonation mode, Ian lands on the default home page for the selected user. Dana's home page is My Work. Currently, Dana has access to Classic PPM, which is disabled while in this mode. A tooltip is revealed to indicate this. If Ian were to navigate to Classic PPM through another browser window, Clarity would use Ian's account for permissions and access, not the account of Dana, the impersonated user. Let's go into the Resource Planning workspace to see the accessible modules. The secured module configuration is correct. While in the impersonation mode, if Ian needs to do any other activities on behalf of Dana, the activities can be accomplished using Dana's rights and permissions. Let's take actions on fields that have been enabled for Audit Trail to see how Clarity captures the impersonated update. Let's add a staff member to the digital team. The Audit Trail module is not configured on this investment. Let's look at the Audit Trail module in the administration workspace for which Dana has access. Adding the impersonated by field to the layout provides the user with information to see if the update was made by another user. When comparing the changed by and impersonated by fields, you can see that Ian updated records on behalf of Dana. To find only the records that were updated through impersonation, let's use a filter with the condition is not empty. Let's end the session. If you recall, Ian was on the hierarchies page when the impersonation session began. Now he is returned to his default home page in the administration workspace. Now that you understand various use cases for this great new impersonation capability, let's look at how this is configured. Impersonation has two levels of control. First, Ian is granted access using two global rights that he needs to do his job. The first right allows him to go into the user's tile on the administration page to manage who can be impersonated. This access also populates the pull-down list of users for him to choose who he can pretend to be. The second global right provides a link on Ian's avatar settings menu. Let's take a look at the second level of control by going into the users list. Users accessible for impersonation must be active and enabled for impersonation. The list of users is controlled through a new field on the user's profile named Enabled for Impersonation. Let's add this field to the layout. Upon upgrade to release 16.3.1, all users are enabled by default. Any user that has a status of locked or inactive is automatically excluded from the list of users to impersonate. For example, Peter Anderson and Rashid Awad are locked. When the impersonation dialog is opened and the list is shown, we can confirm this is why we don't see these users. Remember when Ian recently impersonated Luke Bernard? He is listed here. Let's disable the flag for some active users, such as Cheryl Amos and Luke Bernard. As you can see, Luke is no longer shown in the recently impersonated list. In the pull-down list, both Cheryl and Luke are no longer listed. In summary, the impact of the new features to customize menu labels, secure staffing modules, and impersonate users allows the Clarity Administrator to further enhance the user's experience and security. Clarity administrators will definitely save time and hassle with the new impersonation feature to support configuration and troubleshooting issues. Thank you for your attention. This concludes the presentation for the Clarity Release 16.3.1 Administration and User Management section.